Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online stream. Online challenge. I am streaming this, mind you, but this recording is for YouTube. We're back once again with Basking Broodscale on the play for game one. We're looking for Broodscale here. Let's keep... See, I'm tempted to go Saga on one. Because we do draw into the Broodscale, we have the win. I will start... I think it's best to start with Stirrings. Let's start with Stirrings. Does Stirrings resolve? It does not, but we do find a K command. Grab the K command and pass. And pass. Marsh Flats, fetch 19, Thoughtseize on 1, Sacred Foundry Shock for Guidasouls, for Ragavan, draw, another Stirrings. In that case, I'm going to hold K Command X1 here. Feels like energy. Being in combat, K Command, ramp, and exile. Ragavan down and hold. Next turn we can Saga. I guess maybe go Stirrings first. There's Guidasouls. Elegant Parlor, Surveil. Faven Charm to Yard. Draw. A second Flesh Raker. Now that is tempting. Actually, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, I think we go double Flesh Raker here. Temple. Flesh Raker and the Flesh Raker is a significant threat. Alright, we'll pass and we'll hold. Fledgestrand 14. Next turn we have Stirrings. White for Static Prison. Guidasouls. Trigger. Always yield. You have a Johnny. ETB triggers. And triggers. Do you attack over the Flesh Rake? You do. Yep. So we'll take 3 down to 16. And draw. Another Saga. Let's start with Stirrings. Down to 15. There's the Basking Broodscale. We also could go Pith Needle, name a Johnny. But I think we go with Broodscale here. We'll go Saga Trigger. And at this point, we'll pass. We can't block the cats except with a spawn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're 3 short of Emrakul. Yeah, I guess maybe I should have Ancient Stirrings first. We would have seen the Broodscale, played the Saga, played the Flesh Rake, and gone a little bit faster here. Fable Trigger. Yep. Triggers Guidasouls. So we'll be able to float another creature. Attack and attack with the cat. We can block the cat, so that's a non-issue unless they... I mean, they have to float the Guidasouls. I don't think they can't. Go to blocks, block the cat, no reason to sack. Down to 9. Draw. Temple. Saga Trigger. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In that case, I will cast... Casting Broodscale actually might be a bit dangerous. If they can float the guide, it's kind of a non-issue regardless. Yeah, a little bit of an issue one way or another. I mean, 3 damage is 3 damage is 3 damage at this point. So we might just play the Broodscale regardless. Triggers. Yeah, if we had played the Saga a bit earlier, things would look a bit different, but they don't. So, if you have a creature, you win. That is kind of the bottom line here. Pitch's Voice of Victory. Why, though? You had the win if you just played it. Sacred Foundry. Shock 13. Red, white. Looks like they missed the lethal line. They have a Voice of Victory anyways. Guided Souls, trigger. Yeah, they just attack with the Guided Souls plus one more creature. They float it, they win. Let's make sure that they see the line. There's the Goblin. Triggers, they float the Goblin. Until on the turn. Yep, they float the Goblin. That will be lethal damage. I'll concede. Unfortunate. So yeah, I guess what we could have done is instead of going double Flesh Rake, we could have went Ancient Stirring, see the Broodscale, play the Saga. That way we could have comboed off last turn. Yeah, if we had gone for that a turn sooner, we would have been in a better position. Well, I think, admittedly, this was before we saw double Guided Souls. The double Guided Souls applied a significant clock, to say the least. So we want Graft Diggers, we want Dismember. Let's take a look here. Energy. Dismember, Fire Spout, Thief. Yep. And then I forget if we brought in Warping Whale here as well. Yes, and Warping Whale. So we cut all of our halflings. We cut a Rumble. We cut a Gemstone. We cut a Vexing Bauble. Keep Springleaf. Really? We're cutting Pithy Needle. Oh, that seems wrong. Haywire might I agree with. Flesh Raker. I mean, we either cut Pithy Needle or we cut a Emrakul. I'm going to say we cut an Emrakul here, honestly. And just update that real quick and run it back. All right, on the play for game 2. I will keep once again. And we'll play the Temple and pass. And pass. Surveil. So slow start by opponent. Flage to Yard, notable. Let's play a Forest and Rumble. We whiff on the Blade. We'll grab a Grove. And pass and hold. 2, casting Guided Souls. Casting Ocelot Pride trigger, always healed. And trigger, always healed. Draw. Cavernous Souls, no Blade. I mean, we can cast the Flesh Raker, we can cast the Broodscale, but then we put them in a position to where they will lose to a Galvanic Discharge. So instead, I'm thinking we go Ballista X2. I will play the Grove. Ballista X2. I will hold. Red, white, a Johnny. So if I want to deal with the Ocelot Pride, I basically have to do it now, or we deal with the Johnny. Interesting. Because Gaia Souls will be able to float, and that's an issue in its own right. So I can ping the Pride. They still have not played their land for a turn, which is also a consideration that we have to consider, or think about at the very least. Yeah, that is a bit ugly. I'm going to ping the Ocelot Pride now. And then hold. Trigger the Gaia Souls. Yep. A Johnny trigger. Looks like no land for turn. Yep, float the Gaia Souls. Keep the cat on board. Yep, that makes sense to me. I'll take the hit. Looks like they did miss their land drop, which is good news for me. We draw Blade. Emrakul. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In that case, let us start with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah. We'll start with a Flesh Raker into Broodscale. I think that makes the most sense. Scarplucin. And Broodscale. And triggers. And at this point, I will pass, no attacks, and hold. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So next turn we should have Emrakul. They shock in down to 20. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. Go to combat. Attack with guide, attack with cats. Yep, we'll have to take the 6 down to 10. Actually, not necessarily. I guess I can block the cat before damage. Ping you. Mitigate some damage. That will end up working with anyways. We'll go down to 12. Instead of 10. Remember, Flage is in Yard. Worst case scenario here, by and large, is a Thraben Charm. Discharge resolves. 2 energy in hand, and end step, draw. Dismember, play Cavern Souls, name Eldrazi. And trigger, and triggers. Always yield Emrakul. Can you deal with Emrakul, my friend? That is the question. We can deal with Static Prison just fine. We have Dismember on the off chance it's necessary, but opponent will scoop it up. We'll take the win. Alright, let's move to game 3. We bring back Gemstone. We cut the Cavern since we didn't see blue. We'll run it back like this. And let's take a look. We're missing Blade. We have Warping Whale. We'll keep. We'll pass. Shock. Ocelot Pride. Draw. Flesh Raker. Ancient Stirrings. There is Tezzeret. Any order will pass. And pass. So now I'm debating whether or not we play Fleshraker next turn. Double Ocelot Pride is admittedly an issue. Draw. Second Tezzeret. Temple. Fleshraker as a blocker. See if they have a discharge. We'll pass. Fetch. Arid Mesa. Surveil. No discharge then. They could still have a bombardment, however. We'll pass. Worst case scenario here, probably a Clarion Conqueror, to be completely honest. Bombardment. Or a Johnny. I guess Thraben Charm would also deal with it. Yep, Thraben Charm. Take 4 down to 15. So let's make things a little bit more awkward. Second Broodscale. So how do we want to proceed? We can cast Broodscale as a blocker, 3 in hand. However, we have no way to get to Blade. Not to mention the fact that... Could play the Broodscale, then what? Then not much, unfortunately. I was really hoping that that Fleshraker would have resolved, because if it had, or would have stuck on board for a turn, because if it had, we could have played Tezzeret, made a spawn, and that would allow us to, on the following turn, just win on the spot. I'm thinking we actually go Ancient Stirrings here, and try and find K command, honestly. No K commands. So we do find an Urza Saga. Okay. Rip the Fire Spouts. Warping Wheel is also a choice. We have one in hand, so I think we go Saga. Play Saga Trigger. And now we can Warping Whale one of their Ocelot Prides in a pinch. Surveil. Marine of Glory to Yard. Yeah, I was really hoping for the K command so we could ramp exile. Pyro. Pyro pitch what? Pitch a Johnny, pitch Arid Mesa. Combat. I'm going to Warping Whale. I'm going to exile the Ocelot Pride. We'll take 5 down to 10. Then they're going to make 2 cats, 1 token. Draw, trigger. At this point, we have 2, 4, 5, 6. So I could go 1, 2, but then we don't have enough to Saga. So we could play the Broodscale. The biggest thing is this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So as it stands, they have lethal on board. Is that correct? If I were to block the Pride, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in that case, we have to block you. If I go down to 9 with the Grove, for example, and go Broodscale, Broodscale, and go block, block, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, no, Grove gains them a life. That's right. So in that case, this works. So let's start here. Broodscale number 1. And the question is, do I go Broodscale number 2 or Adapt? I think we go Broodscale number 2. And then pass in full. And pass. Alright, either they win here or I do. Static Prison. Which now means I have to block the Seasoned Pyro. Unless they have a Flage. Clarion Conqueror should close it out regardless. Yeah, that is unfortunate. The Conqueror sealed the deal. Because 6, 7, 8, 9, we block. Broodscale dies. It's under static prison still. I mean, I block here, it gets me a turn. If I find the third Firestorm, then he might still have something. Well, it's a bit of a Hail Mary, admittedly. Draw. Spring Leaf Drum doesn't do it. And I don't think I have much that will at this point. We can play the Blood Chief, but nothing to equip it to, which means we lose. I will concede. Yeah, the Clarion Conqueror closed it out, unfortunately. Alright, well, we'll be back for match number 2. Alright, we're back for match 2. I'm just going to keep whatever this is. I don't even know what's up. So you guys know, there was a fire alarm. Sorry, Gazmon. Not my wish to have you hanging here for a better part of, what, 11 minutes? Jesus. Alright, so looks like we're on the draw for game 1. Caverns, I'll pitch the bauble and pass. Alright, what are up against? Flood Strand, passing, might be control, we'll draw. Stirrings, I'm thinking we're going to go Temple and Stirrings the start. I suppose I'll go with a Emerald or land. Let's go for land. And Blade, pass. Shadowy Backstreet Surveil, looking like Blink if I had to guess. Wishing I held that bauble now. And pass. White, looks like Prismatic. Alright, so looks like Control, yeah. Draw. Saga trigger. Let's fire off Rumble. We'll grab Temple or grab Cavernous Souls. We'll grab Temple and pass and hold. And we will hold. Paying cost. Worst case scenario here would be March Priest, looking like it is Reanimator or Goryo's. Alright. I will draw, trigger Saga, Temple, cast Halfling, hold Command. And hold. That way we can play the Tezzeret uncounterable next turn. Fetch Flooded Strand 18. Surveil. There's Ketra. Ketra, Priest of Felright's interesting. Activate only the sorcery is important. Quantum Riddler, Warp, draw a card. Priest of Felrights. I will K-command and scry draw, exile cards in yard. So we'll exile 3. I suppose 1, 2, 3. Done. Oh, god dang it. Scry draw, exile me. Actually, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to just do 2. And done. Play around a Spell Pierce just in case. Alright, I will top, and resolve. Do you have an Ephem for the Riddler? Because we're digging for a Broodscale at this point. Riddler Warp and draw. Rumble. We'll search. Go Blade of the Blood Chief. And let's play the Forest and Stirrings. Find an Emrakul. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll cast the Emrakul. Try and bait out a Solitude, I suppose. Emrakul triggers, always yield, always yield. End step. Atraxa, Goryo's Force, draw. So in that case, I'm thinking we go Polluted Delta. Polluted Delta fetch. Surveil. Trigger. Marsh Flats on top. Yeah, Marsh Flats on top. And then we can't do much else here, so we'll pass and pass. Pass one more time. You know, they have Force in hand. Goryo's double Atraxa. Fetch. And opponent scoops it up. We'll take the win against Goryo's. All right. Solid win there. We want Grafdigger's Cage in. Let's take a look at my sideboard guide. Cut the Halflings. We keep the Vexing Bauble. We cut a Haywire Mite. And we bring in the Grafdiggers, Warping Whale, Dismember. Yeah, that seems right. And run it back. Alright. I guess we could cut like Rumble, Fleshraker, Emrakul. Maybe. But they also play Fatal Push, so we do need to be mindful of that fact. And Fatal Push is definitely sticking in the board. The Priest of the Fell Rites is interesting. I felt like Emperor Bones more or less kept that, or took that slot, right? I don't know. Oh boy. But yeah, TLDR, building-wide fire alarm went off. A student attempted to cook and did not succeed. I also did something wicked dumb by going back into the room after we had already cleared it. We had cleared it. I went in, opened up a window so that way the smoke was less dense by the fire department by the time the fire department got here. And then they must have went back into the room for some reason. Yeah, it was a choice. Glad the fire marshal didn't freaking ream me a new one. But they're usually pretty chill. I will keep this. The question is what we pitch. I'm thinking we pitch the K command. We do need to draw into a land, however. I'll keep Gemstone. Pitch the K command or pitch this member? Let's pitch this member. And then pass. We need to draw into a land. We have plenty of hits, admittedly. We draw Blade. I will cast Bauble. Pass. No Solitude. And pass. Passing. Draw. Karplusin. Cast Rumble. Rumble. I do want to grab the other Broodscale, but I do need an extra land. So we're going to grab a land. We're going to pass. Paying cost for pest control cycle will hold. Fetch 19. Gala Shrine Shock 17. Psychic Frog. They have 1 up. Draw. Second Rumble. So in that case, I'm going to attempt to Broodscale here. Actually, am I? No, because we can Broodscale, we can cast Blade, but we can't equip. So in that case, it might actually be best for me to just hold the K command. I will hold the K command, yeah. Would like to fire it off the Rumble, but I think holding the K command's correct. Begin combat. Attack a frog. We'll take the hit. Not ideal, but it is what it is. Down to 19. Three untapped lands. End step. I'm going to... Oh, I need a colorless. Alright, we're just going to hold then. Draw. There's Grove. Like, we're going to have to go for the K command at some... Or go for the Broodscale at some point. I'm going to start with Rumble. That way I can still hold the K command X1. X2, double Blade. So in that case, we could play the Blade. I think we have to grab a Blade here as much as I want to grab the Temple. Cast Blade of the Blood Chief. We'll cast Blade, see if we either can sign. And hold. And hold. The thing is they know about the K command too, which is a bit unfortunate. Attack with Frog. Frog will draw down to 18. Yep. Nine cards in hand. They will have to pitch the hand size. Pitches a Troxa. Do you go for the Goryos and hold up Consign? There's Goryos. I will attempt. Done. And done. There's Consign. And Pass in Full. I just need a land then. What do you grab is the question. You also will need a EFEM, right? So we should be in the clear with this Vexian Bauble on board. If I can get a land, I can make infinite spawns. Yeah, infinitely big spawns, basically. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Blade. That way could have held a spawn. 1-2 Blade equips sack. Maybe. Yeah, that may have been the right move in retrospect. If we can draw into a land, we can go Broodscale, equip. Actually, Broodscale, Tezzeret, no. Broodscale, equip, adapt, yes. So yeah, we will need specifically one land here. If we can find a land, then we'll be in a good position. Because Broodscale, equip, adapt. Then we can go Tezzeret, and from there win. Yes. Alright, let's see what we can do. Thing is, they want to keep the Trox on board. They're going to need to land EFEM. This Vexing Bubble, though, is doing a pretty good job of stopping them. They also could go land Prismatic Ending, Subtlety, I guess. Prismatic Ending, EFEM, Solitude. So Prismatic Ending, EFEM, Solitude. Okay, so this way they hold the Solitude for the Broodscale. Understood. Yeah, that might put a damper in things because the Solitude will draw Soul Guide Lantern. I think because of time, it might be worth my time to concede here and move to game 3. If I had full time, I think I would play it out, but because I have 8 minutes on the clock, I think it might be better for me to play this right. We'll cut the Gemstone Cavern, and I guess bring in a halfling against Goryos. Yes, we'll do that and run it back. All right. On the play for game 2, we're just missing Broodscale. We'll keep. We want to play the Blade, not with Prismatic Ending as a threat, so play Grove. We'll pass. And pass. Flooded Strand passing. Draw. Broodscale. So we found the Broodscale. Malevolent Rumble, does it resolve? Already have a force. It resolves. We'll grab the Vexing Bauble then. Yeah, we don't want to sack the spawn. We do want to keep that if possible. Surveil. Faithful Mending. We'll hold the off chance it's relevant. Hallowed Fountain, Shock, Frog. And draw. Stirrings. So I'm thinking we go Karplusin, or do we go Rumble again? Let's start with Rumble. Down to 18. Does Rumble resolve? Basically, we're force checking them here. If they want to force the Rumble, that gives way to the Vexing Bauble to protect the Broodscale. That's the idea, at least. Yeah, they definitely have the force. The force I don't care about as much as I care about the Solitude in the end. We do see a second Broodscale. I'll have to grab that. What are we thinking here, opponent? There's a second Broodscale, so we do need to grab that. So we'll grab the Broodscale. They know we have it now. We'll play the Karplusin. We'll play the bauble, and we'll pass in full. Okay, so no more force, no more solitude to worry about. So we can cast, equip, sack. So likely gonna have to hold up mana in order to deal with my board. Means we can't block though, unfortunately. Pitches Goryos. Floats the frog. Attack for 2, down to 16. They'll draw. Paying cost for Quantum Riddler. Okay. Draw. Land. Could have a force Ephem. So this should just be the game then. Yeah. Warp. Because they can't cast anything for free. Saga trigger. Cast Broodscale. Cast Blade. Blade equip. Sack spawn, always yield. Sack spawn, trigger. Always yes, always yield. Let's just go with this real quick. Stirrings. There's the Tezzeret. That way you can just kind of show them, here's Tezzeret. And Tezzeret will find Ballista. And even if that wasn't the case, we have the Kate command. I just didn't want to go through the motions. You know, Gazbon, I've never had a problem with you, but you're being a little bit something. So yeah, TLDR, like I said, there's a fire alarm. You know, apologize about it. Building had to be evacuated, and they then get really sassy at the end. Yeah, you need to chill. That's just inappropriate. People need to understand, like, when there's a building-wide emergency, you kind of need to leave. Can people just be decent human beings and be a bit more understanding? Like, you don't know what people are going through. For God's sake. I have no problem calling them out here on stream, let alone on YouTube. Like, don't be a dick. Especially when you consider the fact that I'm in charge of students. I'm the hall director on call today. So of course I need to make sure that, hey, like I'm a live-in staff member. I need to, leave the broom, which in accordance with law, because if the fire department wants to, what they can do, they can charge the college $10,000 per person remaining in the building while the alarm's going off. They've never done so. Students have been in the building, but they could. And so, like, my responsibility is to, all right, lock up shop, run, go make sure that the students are safe, check what room is theoretically on fire, run up, make sure all the students are safe in there, make sure that they're evacuated, make sure there's no open flames, yada, yada, yada. And then call the fire department, let them know either, hey, yep, there's a fire, or hey, no, it's cool. Just send over the small truck so you can just do a quick inspection. Like, can people not be ridiculous? All right. Regardless, you want our match 2, they can go suck a pair of rotten eggs. With that being said, we'll be back for match 3. Alright, we're back for match 3 on the draw for game 1. We're gonna mulligan this. Alright, we're just missing Blade. I'll keep Will Pitch Needle. Done. Pass. Play Grove. Looks like it could be Belcher. Kinda wishing I kept that Needle now. Rumble. I'll play the Grove. I'll pass. We're gonna Rumble next turn. And pass. Blue. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not Belcher? Double blue Tamiyo. The double blues kind of throw me off. It could be Control. Could be Murktide. Could be Grixis Control, I suppose. Draw. Emrakul. In that case, I'm going to play the Boseiju so I don't have to hurt myself or gain them life. Rumble. Do you have Counterspell? Force. Pitching Subtlety. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to see Subtlety go, admittedly. Paying cost, crack a clue, draw a card. Second main land, shock, tap, 4 in hand, draw. Second Glaring Flesh Rake. In that case, we're going to go Flesh Rake and pass. Do you have a counterspell? No counterspell. Do you have a Solitude? Paying cost, clue, draw a card, and pass. Yeah, Tamiyo basically reads, you know, put a 2-mana value spell into hand, cast, draw a card. More or less reads that per turn. It's kind of nutty. Also, you have to attack in order to do so, but it's a powerful card. Fetch, Marsh Flats, Watery Grave, Shock, Esper Colors, 3, Kaido. Oh. Then I suppose you will Scry Draw. Or Surveil Draw, rather. Puts 1 into the yard, 1 on top. Do you replay the Tamiyo? Preordain. So yeah, feeling like it might be Murktide. We will draw Ancient Stirrings. I will start by playing Ancient Stirrings. I will grab a Forest or a Tezzeret. Ooh. I'm going to grab a Tezzeret. Any order, cast, Broodscale. Triggers. Triggers. Enters combat attack at Kaido. And pass. Verge. So we have the Tezzeret to find the Blade, unless they hold up counter magic. Right now, Kaido's a 3/4. We can block with a Spawn, theoretically. Fatal Push. Yeah, tempted to block the Spawn so they don't then draw a card. Paying cost. Betrayal. Rude. Draw. Stirrings again. Cast Stirrings. There's Vexing Bauble. I'll grab Grove, though. Cast Flesh Raker. Pass. Draw a card. And pass. 5 cards in hand. We will not block down to 13. Kaido, Surveil, draw. So one engrave, one on top, Tamiyo. Preordain, flip Tamiyo. Then Tamiyo will plus. Five cards in hand. Draw. Second Flesh Rake. Yeah, this is a bit complicated now. Cast the second Flesh Rake, triggers. Paying cost, dress down. To combat. I don't think I care about Kaido as much as I care about Tamiyo. We'll attack Tamiyo, trigger. The dress down was a bit surprising. Bowmaster. It's a 1/1. Blocks. And passing dress down. So what does Tamiyo grab back? I imagine either push or strategic betrayal. No, probably push then. Gets an emblem. Blocks. No additional draws for you, please. I say as you play Quantum Riddler. Always yield. Tamiyo grabs push. Yep, that was expected. There's a frog, okay. Quantum Riddler will leave board. Do you push my Flesh Rake? Yes, you do. Okay. Draw. Second Broodscale. 1, 2, 3, trigger. And I think if we're going to cast this, now's the time to do so. Triggers. Force, pitches Kaido. In that case, I will cast Broodscale. Probably should have held the green from Beseiju, admittedly. Triggers. Paying cost for Spell Snare. Rude. In that case, I will attack at Tamiyo or Kaido. I will attack at... I'm thinking Tamiyo. No, in retrospect, I shouldn't have done that. For some reason, I was not thinking there, because now they can block pitch. Pitches, preordain. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in my head there. Might be a bit scrambled from that fire drill. Because for some reason my brain is going, okay, this is fine, we can attack, and then Frog will be able to block it. We'll pitch a card, but then my Flesh Raker won't die. Yeah, don't know what's going on there. Pitch Tamiyo. Imagine plus Tameo 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's a bit unfortunate. And then what they can do here is attack with Frog. They'll float, I'd imagine. They'll draw off the Riddler, and then they can pitch whatever they don't want, and then Kaido draw. Yeah, Riddler is a bit of a complex card. Yeah, definitely should have kept the Flesh Rigger, though. Not sure it's going to matter, but we'll see in a moment. Fetch down the 10. Surveil. 2 cards. Tameo, 1 card. Riddler. Draw. Cast Broodscale. Cast Blade. Blade Equip. Sack Trigger. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. Funden asked if I had Emrakul or Ballista. I do not. 9s. We need 9. No, we need 11. No, yeah, 11. Emrakul, always yield. And then our turn, comrade. You have Polluted Delta, Subtlety. So what can I do here to close this out? We can, of course, go push. So main, they have multiple Riddlers. We can pitch their hand with Frog. We can attack Kaido into Ballista. We can push Frog, attack Tameo into you. So let's start by minus Tameo, target, I'd say Fatal Push, because attack, push. We could do that, otherwise I could just grab a Spell Snare, evoke Subtlety. Yeah, that actually seems like a decent idea. So let's grab the Spell Snare, Tameo and Yard. We can then evoke Subtlety. Oh, you know what I should have done? I could have done something slightly better, admittedly. I have ideas that I messed up on. Trigger. And then I guess I could play the Riddler. Yeah, we could play the Riddler, admittedly. How does Strategic Betrayal target an opponent? It does say opponent specifically. Yeah, Riddler. Because we could have played the Riddler, we could have evoked, and then we could have put the Riddler to hand, pitched it with Frog. Not sure that matters too much, admittedly. But was something we could have done. Play the Polluted Delta, fetch of Polluted Delta, down the 9. Shout a Backstreet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Backstreet, Surveil, Trigger, Fatal Push, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could draw 2, though. I guess we could push with Frog. They would then be able to play another Riddler. I guess we can put push to Yard. And then what else? Attack with Kaido, attack with Frog, leave the Tameo. Yeah, it's probably correct. In that case, 1, 2, 3. One's on the turn. 1, 2, 3. Though they could have played this a little bit more efficiently. You also can surveil 2. And surveil 2. Thoughtseize, Delta. We'll keep those on top. So I guess we'll put on top so they get Thoughtseize. And then we'll go to combat. Attack, attack. Go to blocks. We'll block. Oh, jeez Christ. Forgot to block the damn frog. Trigger, or the Emrakul rather. Trigger. Thoughtseize target itself. Pass. Frog should be dead. It's not. Actually. End step. Frog. Activate. Float. Frog is supposed to be dead. I mean, good thing it didn't kill me, I guess, but still annoying. Because now they're going to be able to draw 2 from the Riddler. Flip Tameo. Now Tameo can plus. They have 3 cards in hand. We know one of them is a fetch. Both of my creatures present lethal, though. Actually, 12. This is 6. So not quite. I guess we'll have to put Blade onto Emrakul. Yeah, that's annoying. Frog should be dead. Absolutely fat-fingered the one. Cast Stirrings. Paying cost for force. So in that case, I will sack the spawn, trigger, always yield, always yes, always yield. So, I mean, this is lethal damage no matter what. We then can just equip to Emrakul. Trigger, trigger. Equip back to Broodscale. And go to combat. Because now if they block this with 12, that with 6. So this will be a 14. They block with 6, then yeah, we should have it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Almost punted it there, I'll be honest. Murktide, win for game 1. Thank God we didn't. Don't think it's Oculus. We don't need to worry about whatchamacallit, Cage. Vaccine Bubble's still relevant. Soul Guide, Pithy Needle, Haywire Might's not. Murktide specifically. So we want to cut Fortis Member Thief. Yes, that tracks. Because that way we can deal with Kaido and with Tameo flipped. Otherwise, we could have 3 halflings by cutting a Flesh Rake and Rumble. We could. At the same time, they have push, so the halflings are a bit weaker in comparison. So I think it's better for us to cut the halflings than the Flesh Rake, for example. We're looking for Blade. We'll keep. We have plenty of ways of finding Blade. And Tameo, draw, Ballista, Forest, Bobble, pass. So no Subtlety, no Solitude, no Force. I don't think I play Solitude. Attack. Draw. Karplusan. Play the Grove. Play Soul Guide. And we'll hold. We can always use it as a redraw. Fetch 17. Surveil. That's 2, 3. I'll hold. Paying cost, Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize resolves. Eats the Ballista. So they must have a Fatal Push for the Broodscale, would be my guess. Yeah, we do need to worry about a Murktide, though we haven't seen a Murktide this entire time. Preordain. Makes a clue. Draw. Rumble. I will cast Rumble. They have a Spell Snare. Spell Snare, play the Forest, and I will exile Yard to play around a potential Murktide. Attack for 0. Do you have a Kaido? At damage, no Kaido. Second main, Perfect Springs, tapped, 15. And illness in the ranks. Creatures get -1, -1. Temple. We'll play the Temple and hold. Draw a card and pass. I mean, as long as the Broodscale... I'm not sure that does a lot, does it? Huh. Currently 1-1 in round 3. There's a frog. We really need a threat here, though. Draw. Stirrings. Cast Stirrings. Does Stirrings resolve? It does. Fleshraker is a threat. We also could go Needle. Needle for frog. That is a thought. But the Fleshrake might be better. Huh. Well, that is kind of interesting. Illness is interesting because I don't think it really does too much in a grand scheme. Like, things still hit board. I mean, the Pithy Needle would allow me to name Frog. And we'll go Pithy Needle here. As strange as it sounds. We'll play the Grove. Play the Pithy Needle. Okay, pitch Fatal Push. They knew they were gonna go Side Chick Frog. In that case, cast Broodscale. And adapt. This way we're still out of... we can block the frog, basically. Always yes, always yield. Why'd they pitch the Fatal Push knowing we have the Broodscale in hand? That seems a bit weird. Huh. And pass. Like, yeah, we lose the token, but now they can't do much with the frog. They can flip the Tameo, though, and then in two... or I guess in one turn cycle, they'll be able to pick up the Fatal Push. Which is relevant. Draw a card. Yep, flip Tameo plus... Draw. Dismember. I mean, yeah, we'll attempt to dismember frog. Combat. Swing at Tamiyo. Down to 2, so they can't pick up push now. Yeah, this is weird. Tamiyo plus. Basically, we're keeping it at 2 as long as they don't have a blocker. Riddler. Well, I can't grow past that unless I find my blade. But even then, we don't have the ability to do much. Oof. Temple. We'll play Temple. We could crack the Vexing Bauble at this point. Might be worth doing so. Crack the Bauble. Tarplusin. We're drawing nothing but bricks. Alright. So they're going to minus the Tamiyo. And they're going to Fatal Push Broodscale. Blue Delta. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have enough for Emrakul. 4 in hand. Take 4 down to 12. 3-turn clock here. Ping cost. Riddler. Draw a card. Must have something in hand they want to be able to cast, otherwise they could have just hard cast. Well, I'll play the Flesh Raker. Does Flesh Raker resolve? I'm guessing no. Consign. That's fine. Again, we kind of just need to find Emrakul at this point, I think. Pass. Tamiyo plus the 3, which means they can pick up Consign next turn. Attack for 4. They can pay 5 for Riddler, draw a card. Draw. K command. Press X to doubt that this resolves, but I mean, I don't think I have much in the way of choices, right? We just go for it. We hold back green? Probably not. Actually, no, we should hold back a green. There is an interesting line we can take. Does this resolve? Press X to doubt. Consign. I also just realized all my spawns would have died anyways to illness in the ranks. I guess I probably should have Scryjawed Exile. Forget about illness completely. So that's a consign out. The thing is they can pick up another consign. Yeah, we'll just concede here. We actually don't have a good out now with them picking up consign. We'll concede. Go to game 3. We will cut the gemstone, bring in the halfling, and run it back. I feel like pretty much at this point, Riddler almost feels the same way as Frog or some other cards. Like, if you're playing blue, you should be playing Riddler, right? That's like a foregone conclusion. All right, we just need Blade here. Temple, pass, and pass. We have Thoughtseize on 1. Fetch. Watergrave. Tammy or Thoughtseize? Thoughtseize takes Flesh Rake. Yep, draw. Second Broodscale. Play Beseiju. Cast Broodscale, pass. See if we can just bait out some interaction. Paying cost Tamiyo. Paying cost push. Yep. Draw. K command. Do we force check here? I think I do. Rampant Exile. Just trying to reach for the Emrakul at this point. Force check successful. Tameo down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 short of Emrakul. And passing. Draw. Ancient Stirrings. Cast Ancient Stirrings. Polluted Delta. Hardcast Force. Force. Karplusin. Oh, trying to cast Emrakul accidentally. Jesus. Broodscale. Broodscale will adapt. Always yes. Always yield. And pass. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So a temple gets us the Emrakul. Fetch. Nope. Draw. Blade. Blade. Does Blade resolve? Consign. Consign. Combat. Swing for 3. Four types in yard. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One short of Emrakul. So I just need a land. So anything we draw should result in us winning, more or less. Short of the artifact, I guess. Tezzeret can find us Blade. So yeah, any of the artifacts that are not Blade. That's the only thing we don't want to see. Tapped. So no Quantum Riddler in hand. Draw. K command. Okay. We don't want to play K command right now, so I suppose we just hold. We know they play, what should we call it? Bowmaster. Down to 7, we hold K command. We'll use that as permission. Land for turn. Are they just going to die to Broodscale beats? Is that what's happening here? Ramp, scry, draw. And done. Do you have consign or a counterspell? Again, we're using this as permission. Sink to hand. Okay. That's a desperate move, so I'm happy with that. Draw. Stirrings is mana neutral. We find a land, we can cast the Emrakul. And Bone scoops it up. We'll take it. Broodscale beats for the win. Alright. Solid win for match 3. We'll be back for match 4. Alright. And we're back for match number 4 on the draw for game 1. I'll keep. I'll pass. We play the Boseiju. Boseiju has more utility into Belcher. So yeah, we're going to play... Ooh, hello, Broodscale. So yeah, so we really just need the Blade of the Blood Chief at this point. We'll pass. Spend this mana to cast legendary spells. Okay. Bolt. Falaji. Picks up Lotus Bloom, I'm gonna imagine. See, I kind of want to Boseiju next turn. Draw. Flesh Rake number 2. Like I said, I kind of want... They picked up the Suppression Field. Interesting. In that case, let's start with a Glaring Flesh Raker. Does Flesh Raker resolve, or do you have a Flare? Guess you could have a Disrupting Shoal, but I think your main 3-minute spells are Tameshi and Whir. There's Flare. We'll play the Halfling then. And pass. We're not playing the the Besiege because we want to destroy a land next turn. 2 Trainer. So we know they have the suppression field. What does Trainer find? Finds the Whir. Kind of want to pop the Seagate. Yeah, I think the Seagate's right. Do you have another Flare in hand is the question. Guess if I had popped a land before, maybe they wouldn't have been able to play the Trainer. That's a thought. Cavern of Souls, Name Eldrazi. So, cast Flesh Raker. Can't be countered. And cast Beseiju, pop Seagate. And do we pass or do we play the Ballista? Playing the Ballista is tempting, but I think I will hold. Lotus Bloom enters exile. Do you have another land? Another land for Whir. That could be trouble, admittedly. But at least this way you can't play Belcher, I suppose. At least not this turn. Yeah, finding a Tezzeret would be ideal here. I guess also just Blade would be ideal. Draw. Grove. In that case, I will cast Broodscale, make it uncounterable. Triggers. Triggers. Enters. Adapt. Always yes, always yield. 1, 2, 3, 4. X equals to Ballista. Down to 12, combat attack with Flesh Rake. Down to 10. All right. Well, we'll pass in full. I guess I should be hold. Trainer. Trainer finds what? I guess maybe they're looking for, whatchamacallit, Belcher. That'd be my guess. Seagate, tapped, and hold. 2, 6, 8. We can grow the Ballista twice. K command. So I can grow it twice. Ping, ping. 2, 5, down to 5. Well, in that case, I'm thinking we just go attacks with Broodscale, attack with Ballista. Yeah, it seems right. Block. Double block. So I could grow Ballista once. Trigger, trigger. Put a counter. Always yield. And done. 2-1. Down to 7. And we'll hold the K command. There's Bloom. We have a K command X3 for Tameshi. Combat. End step. K command X equals 2. Done. Always yield. Always yield. If this resolves, you go down to 4. Ballista alone should be able to end you. And opponent scoops it up. We'll take the win against Belcher. Yeah, I think they were just struggling to find the Belcher at this point. So for Belcher, we want Dismember, not Thief. Where did Thief go? I think we just want Dismember for Belcher, right? And cut a Fleshraker Rumble. Yes. Let's cut a Fleshraker, cut a Rumble, and run it back. Yeah, because Wastecape's not doing much, Warping Wheel's not doing much. Yeah. Fleshrake, Rumble makes sense. We kind of want everything else that we have in our deck already. I mean, yeah, we'll keep that. Keep and pass. Turn 1 Blade. Lotus Bloom. Lotus Bloom. So in that case, I'm tempted to play Saga here. Play Saga, Saga Trigger. Cast Blade. Pass. And pass. Draws a card. Because thankfully Saga will resolve its 3 chapters before Lotus Bloom will enter board. So we can go for the Vexing Bauble if needed. Trigger. In that case, do we want to play the K command as permission? Or do we just want to send the Broodscale? Tempted to just send the Broodscale, to be completely honest. Because if Broodscale resolves, we could very well just win next turn. Yeah, we'll just send it. See if you have no consign. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that should just be the game, I think. Because we'll be able to tap, equip, adapt. With Bobble on board, they won't be able to counter the K command unless they hold up 3 specifically for Flare. Alright, so they have the Flood Maw is the question at this point. If they tap down, we should just win. Okay. Do you tap down? You do not. Float. Vexing Bauble. Temple. Equip. Attempt to adapt. Does it resolve? If it does, we have lethal on board. It does? Yes. Yield. That's lethal on board. Unless they can sign the trigger. Opponent just types ... Did they miss something? I mean, they still have the opportunity to bounce. They could still counter the trigger. Sometimes people people got lucky. I mean, this was basically our opening hand. Trigger, always yield. We good? GG's? Opponent's thinking hard about something. We got there. All right, we'll take it. Yeah, I fully expected that Broodscale was eating a Consign or a Flood Moss, something. The fact they didn't play anything on 2 either had me a bit concerned there. I wonder if they did have a Force? No, Force wouldn't do it either. So what could they have possibly had? Subtlety? I guess maybe Subtlety to try and... No, the Broodscale's on board, wasn't it? Yeah, Broodscale's on board before the Bauble. So what in the world did they have in hand? I mean, I guess they suspended 2 Lotus Blooms. They had 3 lands. Weird. Very weird. Regardless, we'll take the win against Belcher. We'll be back for match 5. All right, we're back for match 5. On the draw for game 1. Put mulligans down to 5. We're going to start here with Halfling on 1. We're looking to draw into some lands, ideally. So we can then play Fleshraker on 2. Looks like Lush Port, Surveil, Lush Portico. Looks like it might just be Living End. In that case, we'll play Boseiju. Play Halfling, we'll pass. Street Wraith cycle. Because the benefit here is if we can resolve Tezzeret, we can go Chalice. No, we don't have Chalice main. We have... Oh god, we have Vexing Bauble and Soul Guide main. So we're going to be short. Potentially draw. Temple. I'm going to look at my own list real quick. Hold up. Because if it was Tron, we'd have Chalice, but we don't have Chalice here. No Chalice. So I think we go Rumble instead. Yeah, let's go Rumble. Does Rumble resolve? Misty Rainforest fetch. I want to see creatures. Breeding Pool, Shock 13, and Waker. Well, this is actually Vexing Bauble off top. Vexing Bauble, Soul Guide, Living into Yard. Unfortunately, a bit of a whiff. So in that case, I will grab Grove of the Burn Willows. 5 types in Yard. I will play... Do we play the Fleshraker? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, if they Living End, then Delighted Halfling will go to Yard regardless. So I think we will simply pass and pass. Hedge Maze, Surveil, okay. Draw. In that case, we can go Tezzeret. There's Broodscale. Hold the phone, actually. I don't know if we play the Fleshraker, maybe it'll win. Can we still win? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I can make Tezzeret uncounterable. No, I don't think I can. So in that case, let's make Tezzeret uncounterable. I guess we should. Let's do this first. Fleshraker. Does Fleshraker resolve? Cycle. Tezzeret. Uncounterable. Trigger. Trigger. Minus. They could always bounce. Vaccine Bobble. I think at this point we go for the Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, we'll go Soul Guide Lantern, play Soul Guide, triggers, ETB, triggers, eat the Living End on the off chance it's relevant. And at this point, I'll pass. So now they attempt the Living End, will Soul Guide. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cascade trigger. There's Living End. In response, exile your Yard. Yard's gone. Misty Rain. Fetch, Surveil. Yep. And yep, that's fine. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Short 2 on Emrakul. And draw. Blade. I can cast the Broodscale. I can cast the Blade. But we can't equip is the only problem. So in that case, I'm tempted to just play Blade. Let's first do this, Ancient Stirrings. There's K-Command, there's Broodscale, there's Tezzeret. Let's go K-Command. I'll play Blade. Trigger Tezzeret. Minus Tezzeret. Vexing Bauble. Cast Vexing Bauble. Pass. And pass. Combat, swing for 2, that's fine. Down to 18. Tapped, 3 in hand, paying cost for Curator of Mysteries? Yeah. And draw. Delighted Halflane. Rumble. Grab a Grove. Play Grove. Halfling. Pass. And hold. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We could just play an uncountable Emrakul. I'll take the 6. And draw. Gemstone. Maybe just send it. Broodscale. Subtlety. Trigger. Top. K command. We could K command. We also could just crack the Vexing Bauble, and they would have to have another subtlety. But I think we just K command, scry draw, and ramp, I suppose. Because cast, equip, sack. Yeah, done. You need the force at this point. Equip. And sack, trigger, always yield. Always yes, always yield. So we just need, what, 6? 6 mana? Emrakul. Always yield. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, solid stuff. Win for game one. We'll go to sideboarding. So, Grafdigger's Cage in, Warping Well in, Dismember in. Let's see. So yeah, Grafdigger's Cage, Warping Well, Dismember. And we'll also cut Might and Cavernous Souls. I guess there, like I said, there's some thought to keeping Emrakul in. But yeah, I suppose we keep it like this. I guess we don't technically need the Grafdigger's Cage if we're going to be cutting the Emrakuls, theoretically. Because Betrayal can grab what? Fleshraker, Broodscale. Hell, if they want a Ballista, I suppose. Yeah. Otherwise, we cut the Grafdigger, cut a Rumble, cut a Fleshrake. And instead, keep the Emrakuls. Yeah, that's a thought. I will run it back like this, though. Yeah, basically, we just don't want them doing Inevitable Betrayal into Emrakul. That would be less than ideal. Because we can't really defeat our own Emrakul without having our own Emrakul. And that becomes a little bit difficult. We're on the draw again for game 2. I mean, yeah, I'll keep this. Need lands, but that's about it. Opponent keeps their opening 7 as well. Draw. Halfling. We'll play the Halfling then. Bit of a repeat of last time, it feels. Next turn we can Rumble. Surveil. We do need to save enough mana for Clarion Conqueror. Main thing we have to think about sometimes. Force Cycle, Surveil land, I imagine. Should probably play this Soul Guide Lantern next turn. Because imagine they still have at least one, if not 2, Living End in deck as well. Draw. Grafdiggers. Let's start with the Rumble. Yeah, we'll start with the Rumble. You have a Force. You do not. I'm going to go Temple then. Temple. Soul Guide Lantern. Soul Guide Lantern eats an Ent. And I'll hold. And hold. Cages for Betrayal. I have to cut 3 Emrakul anyways, so the cage is just kind of there. There's Betrayal. They'll search. They'll see nothing really of use, which is fine. I think I have the win next turn. Because Betrayal does specifically read search target opponent's library for a creature card and put that onto the battlefield under your control. So they can grab Fleshraker, they can grab Broodscale, that's fine. Opponent puts in chat a frowny face. They put a frowny face in chat. Yep, you grab the Broodscale. No Emrakul's for you. Funny stuff. All right. And we'll draw Ballista. I mean, this is a win, right? We cast Broodscale. We cast Blade. No, we cast Broodscale, we cast Blade, we equip Blade. No. We can still do this. So yeah, we'll cast Broodscale. Do you have Subtlety? No Subtlety. We'll cast Blade. Force. Rude as hell. In that case, I suppose I just pass. Yep, we'll just pass. And hold. I'm gonna take those archive, surveil, island, go into combat, combat wombat, attack for 4, potentially 5. 4, 16, 16 all, and you attempt a living end. Clarion Conqueror, that is a problem. Yeah. Well, you got it. And draw. Grove. We're one short of the commands. I'm gonna go Stirrings. I'm gonna grab a Blade of the Blood Chief. Any order. I will play Blade. I will play Cage. No more betrayals for you. And I'll pass. And pass in full. Land. Tap or shock. Tap. And tack for 7. Down to 9. Yeah, that is fine. Down to 9. Casting. Second one. You absolute bastard. Temple. So what I'll need to do here then is scry draw exile. Scry draw exile. What about the win? Not for the second one. And done. There's Tezzeret, there's Fleshraker. Emmys are out, so we have to specifically find removal is the hard part. So I think we have to dump all. Yeah, this is the downside of cutting the Emrakul's, admittedly. Okay. If we can survive the turn, we win. We just need to survive the turn. Alright. So we'll take 3 in the air down to 6, which means we have to mitigate damage from both Broodscale and Shardless. Is that right? Yes. Which is fine, because we have enough to adapt and equip. Go to blocks. Block and block. Blade triggers always yield. Paying cost for Foundation Breaker hitting Blade. You are rude as hell. That Foundation Breaker might just secure the win now. Draw. Tezzeret. Tezzeret can find Blade, but I don't think that matters because we'll be dead. Because if we dismember the Conqueror, we'll be at 2. Yeah, the Foundation Breaker won them the game. Because we were... I guess we would have had enough mana to cast, equip, adapt, but we played Blade a while ago when they only had one, or before they, yeah, when they only had one Conqueror. Well, yeah, that looks like game to me. Dismember. We can then block 4. We'll lose. We'll concede. Alright. Yeah, let me know in the chat and comments. Is taking Emrakul out correct in Game 2, Game 3 here? Like, on one hand, it feels correct because they betrayal it and you don't have any ways to interact. Then Emrakul just ends the game. But if you don't and they get, 2 Conquerors out, it's kind of rough. Like, I guess we could also bring in Fire Spout. Bringing in Fire Spout's a thought. I guess maybe we could cut Cage, Rumble, Flesh Rake. Like, theoretically, we could put Emrakul back in, but it's always a gamble. It's kind of a mind game at that point, right? Especially in paper. It's a very, very big gamble because they can see you, quote-unquote sideboarding, at least now. Technically, they can't, but it's a gamble to do so. The Fire Spouts are tempting. The thing is they don't clear much short of the Clarion Conqueror is the problem. Having more removal for the Conquerors might not be a bad idea. I guess I will keep as is. I guess we can cut the Gemstone for the Cavern at least. Because we'll be on the play. Alright. And on the play for game 3, I will keep... We're just going to go for it, right? So we're going to go Saga on 1. So Saga on 1, Broodscale on 2, win on 3. Let's go for it. We pass. We hold. Surveil. And we draw. Boseiju. In that case, I think I'll play the Boseiju here. Broodscale. Resolves. Pass. Okay. I mean, we're set up for the turn 3 win. Plays Misty. Misty fetch 19. We have both Fleshraker and Ballista in hand. Shock. Boseiju? No, shot or Foundation Breaker? Foundation Breaker. Brutal. Foundation Breaker will pop the Saga. We went for it, but it might cost us. Alright. And draw. Fleshraker. Play the Karplusin, and I think at that point we'll just attack for 2. Yep. And we hold. Question of the day, are they back on Living End? That I do not know. End, cycle. Temple Garden, shock. Lush Port, surveil. Go to end step, and then we'll adapt. Adapt. Always yes, always yield. Draw. Pithy Needle. Pithy Needle doesn't do much. I guess it does. We could name Boseiju or Otawara. Yeah, but right now it's not really relevant. We could play Flesh Raker. We could play Flesh Raker. We might just want to apply pressure to the board, I suppose. So then we go to combat. Swing for 3 at the very least. Cast Glaring Flesh Rake. Do we want to play the Boseiju? I guess I could tap Boseiju, play Boseiju as land for turn, keep Boseiju, tap Flesh Raker. Does Flesh Raker resolve? Flesh Raker resolves. Needle's at least mana neutral. So now we can name Otawara. We can name... what else? Curator. So... Boseiju, Colossal Sky Turtle, Otawara. What am I most concerned about? I guess I'm most concerned about Boseiju, who endures. Let's do Boseiju. And we could go Ballista. That'll drop him down to 9. I don't think that's necessary, though, because it doesn't get us to the Flesh Raker or getting lethal. So now we just kind of hope and pray they don't have Living End. Agent. All right. There's the Living End on top 2. Why does that always happen? I swear. All right, so now we're in a bit of trouble. Foundation Breaker actually does pop the needle. Funny enough. Though it does add a type TR, but that doesn't matter because we don't have Emrakul. We don't have enough mana for Flesh Raker either. I guess I should have sacked the spawn, admittedly. Yeah. Draw. Land? Whale. Whale, your turn late, bud. That whale's 1 turn earlier would have been so much freaking better. Well, that's not good. We can play Ballista. Is that worth it, though? Yeah, that Foundation Breaker at start was brutal. Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. 4 types. Again, doesn't matter because no Emrakul. No lands. We could whale. They're at 11. I mean, lethal's not on board. It's 9, 11, 13. So we do get an additional turn. I suppose we could just dismember the Curator. It's neutral as far as damage is concerned. No, that doesn't really do too much in the grand scheme, does it? We'll still take, like I said, 11, 13. And they have 7. You could play the Ballista, but to what end? I think we'll hold. We might have to use the Warping Well as ramp, basically. Yeah, I think reducing damage really doesn't do much here. So we'll take the 13 down to 7. End step, cast whale, cast. We ramp. I'll say force it. What are outs here? Do we even have any? We take 4 in the air, so we have to block at least 2 creatures on the ground. Yeah. We'll end up at 1. So we can get another turn out of it, theoretically. Ping cost. Are you going to go for force? Yeah, they're going to hardcast force. Damn. brutal. Or not? Hmm. I was thinking hard on this one. Either that or hardly thinking. Not sure. I mean, I think if they have a force, they should probably hold it in the grand scheme. I'm glad I didn't go for the dismember then. That would have sucked. What is this? 4? Press? What? Return target spell non-land permanent. Oh, return Warping Well to hand? I was about to say, are they going to try and press the enemy living end? Draw? Oofda. I can Walking Ballista block. I can Warping Well block. Dismember down to 3. We lose? Yes. Keen Seed. Unfortunate. The Warping Well came 1 turn too late. And like I said, that Foundation Breaker won them the game by and large, because if they hadn't Foundation Breakered the Saga, we would have won on turn 3. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sometimes win some, sometimes lose some. We'll be back for match 6. Alright, we're back for match 6. On the play for game 1. Hand looks great, short of the fact that I have no lands. Mulligan. This is better. I'll keep. So we go turn 1 halfling. Thinking turn 2 Rumble or turn 2 Tez. So I think we pitch the Emrakul here, because all we're looking for now is a Broodscale. Because Tez can find our Blade, and Rumble can go for Broodscale. We'll pass and pass. What the what? Pathway? Thoughtseize? Takes K command? Pathway? Huh? Well, I'm rather confused. Takes the K command, that makes sense. Why play a pathway? Draw. Second Rumble. I'll cast the Rumble then. Rumble. I'll grab Cavern of Souls. No, yeah, that's fine. Cavern of Souls. Go to combat. Swing. And pass. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm playing against, I'll be honest. I is a bit confused. Is this... Hold on. Is this not Affinity... Pithy Needle? Pithy Needle named Tezzard or Blade? Huh. My first thought here... Tezzeret. Okay. My first thought here is that we're playing against Scales? Is there a world where we're playing against Scales? Stirrings. Okay. What are we playing against? Very confused. Saga. Okay. Plays Saga. Saga trigger. And pass. Draw. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Play Cavernous Souls, name Eldrazi. I suppose. Yeah, Cavernous Souls. There's Broodscale. However, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Halfling will go to Yard. I still think I might want to go for the Temple, honestly. And go to Combat. I don't think they can do much about the Emrakul. Let me be clear there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, short of a Thoughtseize, I think we're in the clear for Emrakul, and we can make it uncounterable as well. We can, in fact, make it uncounterable. Okay. Swamp. 3 cards in hand. You have another Thoughtseize. Paying cost. For what? Black, green artifacts. It's just like the rock? Ensnaring Bridge. Huh. Interesting. Is this Lantern? Hold the phone. No, that's not possible. This isn't Lantern. There's no shot. Cast Emrakul? Make it uncounterable? Our turn, comrade? Oh. Well, thank you for the Assassin's Trophies. I think this is Lantern. Am I crazy for thinking that? Like, what other deck runs main deck Ensnaring Bridge? This has to be Lantern control. There's no shot otherwise. So in that case, we want Thief. We want Wasescape. Yes. Thief, Wasescape might make sense. Vexing Bauble? I don't know about Vexing Bauble. Pithy Needle, maybe. I guess it can name Lantern. Carousel's probably no. Maybe cut like this? Yeah, try it like that. This feels like Lantern control, if I had to guess. I mean, we just need a green source, right? We'll keep. Pass. We can actually start with Saga and the Flesh Rake. I was right. I was freaking right. Mox Opal. Draw. Pixis. Beseiju. I'm tempted to play Beseiju Halfling. Play Beseiju, play Halfling, pass. And pass. They'll have Needle, yes, but we can play around that with the Wasescape. Welding Jar. Overgrown Tomb Shock. Do you have a Thoughtseize effect? 18. And draw. Thief. I will cast Flesh Rake. I will cast Blade. Trigger. ETB, pass. I guess we could have just went Thief. Yeah, we could have went Thief instead. Makes a 4/4, that's fine. We'll pass. Yeah, maybe Wastegate the Saga would have been better. Make a construct, so no Haywire Might, unless they have another land. They could Pithy Needle, admittedly, but that would be fine. Yep, Pithy Needle named Blade. So if we draw into another green source, cast, trigger, cast, trigger. Yeah, if we draw into a green source, we win. Yes. Attack for 6, that's fine. We'll go down to 14. Draw, green source. Perfect. So in that case, I think we just win. I think we start with Thief. Let's Thief, trigger, Needle. Triggers. ETB. Broodscale. Do we win? Equip, sack, triggers, yield. You'd need Force of Vigor, right? Sack, triggers. I guess you could also dismember, but at this point you should have done so before it equipped. Always yes, always yield. Triggers. We've shown the loop now. And opponent skips it up. All right, we beat Lantern Control. Good stuff. Well, we'll be back for match number 7. All right, we're back for round 7 on the play for game 1. Saga, so we're just missing Broodscale. We'll keep this. We'll start with a forest, or we start with the grove. I guess we'll go... Yeah, we'll go with the grove start or forest start. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters too much. We'll start with grove. Nope, also realized my deck was not displaying. There we go. Opponent mulligans down to 6. And they keep 6. Okay. Grove and pass. And pass. We'll go Saga on 2. Looking like Energy, if I had to guess, which is probably one of my worst matchups with Broodscale. Draw. Ooh, hello. Well, this just got interesting. We'll play Fleshraker next turn, try and use it as a Lightning Rod for removal. And if everything works out well, we might be able to get Emrakul out on 4. Main, combat, down to 19. Triggers. And 19. Second main, land, fetch, 17. Bombardment. Bombardment does make this a bit difficult, especially if they do have a Johnny. Huh. So we could go Rumble to set up the Broodscale, but I think I need to go to Flesh Rake to draw removal. And we'll pass. Floodstrand fetch. Flage. I guess we could have gone Beseiju. We went Rumble Beseiju, maybe. Down to 17, draw. Trigger. Float. Blade. Land. Rumble? There's Ballista. Oh, that gets interesting. I'm gonna grab the Ballista. Cast the Flesh Rake. Trigger. 6 types in Yard right now. And pass. And pass. Paying cost for Pyro. Pyro pitches what? Okay. Well, now this got interesting. So they could sack both to kill the Flesh Rake. Land? Tapped or untapped? Tapped. This got very interesting then. Okay. Because we can play the Broodscale, we can equip. We can then play Ballista for 0 and still hold up the Adapt. Attack. I'll block. Why wouldn't I? Trigger. Okay. We draw. Karplusen. For 0. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. So that will be 5 mana we need. Emrakul? I need 7. One more. Emrakul. Always yield. And opponent scoops it up. We'll take the win. Yeah, that was pretty aggressive of them to go for the Flesh Raker like that. Alright, we want Whale, we want Cage, we want Dismember, we want Thief, we want Fire Spout. Pretty much our entire sideboard. We cut Halfling. We cut Cat, Eversouls, Rumble, Flesh Rake, Emrakul, Bauble, Haywire. Yes. All right. All right. Can we win against our matched up energy? That's the question. I will keep this, all right. Yes, keep. What do we pitch? I'm going to say probably the Emrakul. We don't have a pathway towards Emrakul just yet. The question is how quickly we play Blade or Broodscale. Cavern. Emrakul. Pass. Marsh Flats. Fetch 19. Foundry. Guide of Souls. Draw. Beseiju. Play Grove. Play Blade. If we play the Blade, we cast Broodscale, we equipped. We can't do much else after that's the problem. Whereas we play the Broodscale and they don't have interaction, we win next turn? No, we'd also be short, right? Because we need to be able to cast, equipped, adapt, and we're short. So in that case, we'll play the Blade. But we can always grab back another Blade with Tezzeret. So next turn we can set up with Tezzeret to go for Ballista. Arena of Glory. A Johnny. Triggers. Attack. Draw. Graft Diggers. So in that case, play the Forest, play Tezzeret, minus Tezzeret for Ballista, and pass. And pass. Land, paying cost. Bombardment. Pride. That is a problem. So Johnny attack at Tezzeret, Guide, Cat, attack me down to 16. They'll float probably the Guide. Yep. So we'll take 5 down to 14. We could Beseiju the Bombardment. Triggers. 1 in hand, a Johnny, down to 10. Ocelot Pride will trigger. Yeah, that is a problem. Draw. Second Ballista. Ooh, this gets interesting. Play the Beseiju. Yeah, because we can't give him another turn, basically, because we'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, yeah. 5, 6, 7. No, it should just be 10. And then an additional 2. So lethal's on board right now, so we can't just Beseiju the Bombardment and pray. We can, however, play Beseiju, play Broodscale, equip. No, they'll just ping it down. We don't have enough to hold the adapt is the problem. Otherwise, we can play Ballista and equip. Active player, non-active player, they... Actually, how does that work? We'll play the Beseiju. Sack is part of cost, though. Which means then the Blade trigger will go on a stack. Yes. So... yeah, so I think we have to go Ballista. X equals 1. Oh, but then they'll just sack. They'll sack 1. Equip Blade, sack it. Yeah, never mind. No, I don't think there's any good solution here. They should just sack Cat and kill it. Yeah. We play the Broodscale. We go to equip. They sack 2. And then they pop the Broodscale. Attack 3. No, yeah. I don't think there's really any out short of them just making a mistake here. Yeah. Triggers always yield. I guess we could sack it, ping, but it won't matter. Well, let's concede. Yeah. There was no real path forward, I don't think, unfortunately. We needed one more turn. We just did not have it. All right. Gemstone out. Counter Souls in. Run it back. Yeah, I guess theoretically we could have played the Broodscale a turn earlier and equipped. And that way, if they try and bombardment, it would have grown out of range, but I don't know. On the play for game 3. We're missing the blade. We have interaction for days. I'll keep. We'll keep our opening 7, play the Karplusen, and hold. We're holding Dismember. This is a bit painful. Another reason why I'm kind of thinking about Unholy Heat over Dismember. Marsh Flats, fetch 19. Sacred Foundry Shock for Ocelot Pride. We'll let that resolve and pass and draw. Temple, Ancient Stirrings. In that case, we'll play the Grove of the Burn Willow. They'll gain a life. Ancient Stirrings. There's Fleshraker, there's Saga, though. I think we have to go for Temple, however. Go Temple, any order, and pass. And hold. I go to combat. I'm going to dismember the cat now and pass. Second main, Elegant Parlor surveils. Looks like a slower hand. No 1 mana spell. At the very least, they're holding. I'll hold the Temple, hold the K command. We might actually just hold the K command, because then we're going to be able to X equals 4 the following turn. Fetch Flooded Strand down to 17. Blood Moon in response. X equals 2. We have a forest as well. There's Tezzeret, there's Fire Spout. Okay, hold up. I think we will put on top. Blood Moon resolves. We pass, we hold. There's Fire Spout. I will play Tezzeret. Tezzeret will minus for Blade of the Blood Chief. Yeah, I think that is correct. No reason to play it right now. We'll hold. If they tap out, we don't win, but we get pretty damn close. Pain cost, Guide of Souls, okay. I must have drawn into that. Either that they were holding 1 mana earlier. Do we want to dismember that? Tempting. Yeah, we'll dismember that now. Gytosol's down. And draw. Warping Whale. Play the E-Temp. We don't have a way to win right now is the biggest thing. So I think I'll just hold with the Warping Whale in mind. Five lands. 4 in hand. Paying cost for Pyro. Pitch 2, draw 2. They know we have the blade, but that's about it. Draw. K command. Okay, we can make this work then. I will hold. And we'll go for the K command next turn. We'll attack, we'll block. They have 3 in hand. Attacks. Attack, attack. Go to blocks. We block. We block before damage. Opponent's thinking. What about... I guess questioning why we're blocking like this, maybe? K command. Ramp Scry draw. X equals 5. There's Ballista, there is Emrakul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 13 will have perfect knowledge. Yeah, that seems appealing. So I'm thinking Saga bottom, Forest bottom, Ballista top, Emrakul top, Forest top and draw. And phase change. Paying cost. Flage. Flage targets Tezzeret? Or targets me? Targets Tezzeret. That will resolve. 2 cards in hand. Draw. There's the Emrakul. 1, 2, 3. Triggers. Our turn. Paying cost, discharge, in response, sack. Cast Blade of the Blood Chief and phase change. Marsh Flats. Marsh Flats. No reason to play them. We could play the Flage. No reason to do that. Go to combat. Attack with Pyro. Go to blocks. We block. Trigger Blade. And we will pass. If we draw into, well, no, we know we're going to draw into a finisher. So there's one unknown card in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, we have enough for the Broodscale. Flage, ETBs. Targets me or targets a spawn? Targets a spawn. In response, we'll sack trigger. Phase change. No attacks. And we'll draw the Ballista. So now, cast Broodscale. Equip Blade. Adapt. Always yes, always yield. And we have Ballista. I guess we should just do x equals 4. Does it show that we haven't? Does opponent wants us to go through the motions? Annoying but fair. We need to go to 7. Go to combat. Attack. No blocks. Down to 7. And we'll go to 8 just for good measure. Target you, hold, save targets, always yield. And that should do it. All right, solid win against Energy for round 7. It will come down to tiebreakers. We are 5-2 at the end of 7 rounds, so there's a non-zero chance that we make top 8 off of breakers. Now, mind you, we are kind of in the middle of the pack for the 4 twos going into the beginning of this round, so I feel like it's kind of unlikely, but we'll have to wait and see. With that being said, we'll be back either for the wrap-up or the quarterfinals of tonight's challenge. All right, and we are back for the wrap-up. Unfortunately, tiebreakers were not in our favor. We are pretty close, though. It came down to Teamer for Life, Maths, and myself. Unfortunately, I don't think it really mattered, because even if Teamer for Life lost their match, then Maths would have gotten in with their OMW over mine. So, unfortunately, did not work out in my favor. But it is what it is. Sometimes win some, sometimes lose some. Regardless, a 5-2 record at the end of 7, still very good. We made top 16, which is always our, at the very least, like our backup plan, our bare minimum goal for each challenge, because we get some more player points, we get some more chests, so I'm happy with that at the very least. But with that being said, that there will be the end of tonight's YouTube video. As always, if you did enjoy it, please do consider hitting the like button. Comment down below if you did see any lines that I missed, any mistakes that I made, or any general feedback. It'd be much appreciated. For as much that I hope you all learn from me in both my success and failures, I hope I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached the point of the video and haven't already, please do consider hitting the subscribe button as we are continuing to grow this channel. However, if you do want to catch these videos recorded live, you can do so over my Twitch channel, where I'll be live again tonight, once this video releases, at 8 p.m. CST. Otherwise, I'll be live Mondays through Thursdays at 10 p.m. CST, and Fridays through Sundays at 8 p.m. CST. Otherwise, you can get early access to YouTube videos through my Patreon. With that being said, though, folks, I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye!